What if having too many interests isn't a career weakness but actually a strategic advantage? Most people are told to specialize early, pick one path and stick to it. But psychology reveals a different pattern emerging. One, curiosity, range, and intellectual flexibility are not liabilities, but signals of a new kind of intelligence, and it's reshaping the future of work. Psychology and workforce research reveal that people with many interests aren't unfocused, they're wired differently. This video explores the M-shaped career strategy, a model designed for people who think broadly, learn fast, and resist being boxed in. And the final insight explains why this trait becomes more valuable as artificial intelligence and automation accelerate. People with many interests often feel scattered. One week it's psychology, the next it's design, technology, writing, or strategy. From the outside, this can look like inconsistency, but psychology shows something fascinating. High curiosity is linked to openness to experience, one of the big 5 personality traits most strongly correlated with creativity and long-term adaptability. Studies indicate that curious minds build richer mental models because they constantly integrate new information. If this pattern feels familiar, it actually shows cognitive flexibility, the brain's ability to switch frameworks and connect ideas across domains. That's the same mechanism behind innovation. What looks like distraction is often pattern recognition in progress. And this becomes critical later, because the future rewards connectors more than specialists. Traditional career advice assumes stable industries and linear paths. Psychology reveals that this advice was built for predictable environments, not volatile, fast-changing ones. Research in behavioral psychology shows that humans struggle when forced into identities that don't match internal motivation. This creates identity role conflict, a major contributor to burnout. If committing to one narrow role creates anxiety, it doesn't indicate a lack of discipline. It often means the brain is resisting premature foreclosure closing options too early. In fast-changing systems, breadth delays regret. The mind is signaling that exploration is still necessary. Many high-performing professionals didn't start with clarity. They accumulated range first, and coherence emerged later. Most people are familiar with T-shaped skills, broad knowledge with one deep specialty. The M-shaped career goes further. Psychology and labor research suggest that the future belongs to people who develop multiple deep competencies, connected by shared cognitive skills like problem-solving, communication, or systems thinking. Instead of one vertical line, there are 2 or 3. That's the M. This structure matches how multipotential minds actually work. Neural pathways strengthen not just through repetition, but through transfer, applying skills in different contexts. If multiple interests keep resurfacing over years, it often signals areas capable of depth, not just novelty. The key isn't choosing one interest, it's choosing which ones deserve depth. Many interests come and go, but psychology reveals a pattern called recurring intrinsic motivation. Studies indicate that when an interest repeatedly reappears, even after being ignored, it's often tied to deeper values or identity needs. The brain flags it as unfinished business. This matters because sustainable careers align with internal reward systems, not external pressure. Dopamine reinforces learning where meaning exists, not just success. If certain fields keep pulling attention back, writing, strategy, teaching, analysis, it isn't random. It's a signal. The M-shaped path doesn't chase every curiosity, it tracks the ones that persist. A common fear is that multiple interests reduce credibility. Research on innovation shows the opposite. Studies of high-impact thinkers reveal a pattern called cognitive recombination, the ability to merge ideas from unrelated fields into something novel. This is how breakthroughs happen. In career terms, value increases at intersections. Psychology combined with marketing, technology paired with ethics, design blended with behavioral science. When someone understands multiple domains deeply, the brain becomes a translation engine. That capability is rare and increasingly valuable. This is why generalists often struggle early but accelerate later. Early careers reward efficiency. Later stages reward insight. Trying to pursue all interests at once creates overwhelm. Psychology explains this through cognitive load theory. The brain performs poorly when too many complex tasks compete simultaneously. The M-shaped strategy isn't about doing everything now. It's about sequencing depth. One skill is built to a professional level, then another, then a third. Over time, they interlock. This reduces anxiety because the brain can focus while still honoring long-term curiosity. If overwhelm is familiar, it doesn't signal incapacity. It signals a system without sequence. Many people with diverse interests feel out of place in predefined job descriptions. Psychology explains why. Self-determination theory shows that autonomy and competence drive motivation. Rigid roles limit both the multi-potential minds. The M-shaped future favors role creators, people who define hybrid positions, portfolio careers, or evolving functions inside organizations. This isn't rebellion, it's alignment. As automation replaces narrow tasks, human value shifts towards synthesis, judgment, and context skills strengthened by range. If traditional paths feel constraining, it often means the mind is optimized for integration, not repetition. Here's the most counterintuitive insight. As artificial intelligence handles specialized, repetitive work, human advantage moves toward cross-domain reasoning. Research in cognitive science suggests that machines excel at depth without meaning, but struggle with abstraction across contexts. People with multiple interests naturally practice this skill. They connect dots. They ask better questions. They see second-order effects. What once looked unfocused becomes future-proof. The M-shaped mind doesn't compete with AI in speed. It complements AI with judgment. And that's where long-term relevance lives. Career confusion for people with many interests isn't a flaw. It's a signal of range-based intelligence. Psychology shows that these minds aren't meant to shrink into narrow lanes, but to build layered depth over time. The M-shaped future rewards those who connect, translate, and integrate. What feels unclear early often becomes powerful later. If this perspective resonated, subscribe for weekly psychology insights that help decode behavior, intelligence, and modern work. And next, the focus turns to why highly capable people often feel behind and what science reveals about delayed trajectories.